Picture this. You're 20-something years old, standing in the middle of a Brazilian jungle, and you've just discovered what could be worth $1.5 billion. Not million. Billion. With a B. That's exactly what happened to Parker Schnabel, and today we're going to tell you the incredible story of how this young gold miner from Alaska stumbled upon the most insane discovery in gold rush history. You know Parker Schnabel, right? That fearless young guy from Discovery Channel's Gold Rush who's been making grown men jealous since he was practically a teenager. Well, get ready to have your mind blown, because what we're about to share with you will change everything you thought you knew about gold mining forever. Let's start from the beginning. Parker wasn't born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but he might as well have been born with a gold pan in his hands. This kid literally started working in gold mines when he was just 5 years old. Can you imagine? While other kids were playing with toy trucks and sandboxes, Parker was learning the real deal on his grandfather's Big Nugget mine in Alaska. His grandfather, John Schnabel, wasn't just any ordinary grandpa. This man was a legend in the gold mining world, and he saw something special in young Parker. John founded the Big Nugget mine, and it became the family business that would shape Parker's entire future. But here's the thing that makes this story even more amazing. Parker didn't just inherit success. He earned every single ounce of it. When Parker turned 18, he made a decision that would blow everyone's mind. Instead of going to college like most kids his age, he took his grandfather's life savings. We're talking about a massive chunk of money, and decided to bet everything on his own mining operation. Can you imagine the pressure? Your grandfather trusts you with his life's work, and you're barely old enough to vote. But Parker wasn't your average teenager. This kid had gold running through his veins. He moved up to the Klondike and started leasing mining ground from some of the most legendary miners in the business. And guess what happened? He didn't just succeed. He absolutely crushed it. Season after season on Gold Rush, Parker kept breaking records that seemed impossible to break. We're talking about millions and millions of dollars worth of gold. In one incredible season, his crew managed to pull out over $8 million in gold. That's more money than most people see in their entire lifetime, and Parker was doing it year after year. But Parker had a problem. He was ambitious, really ambitious. Mining in Alaska was great, but the season was limited. Winter would come, and everything would shut down. Parker wanted more. He wanted to mine year-round. He wanted to find the kind of deposits that would make mining history. And that's when he made the decision that would lead to the most incredible discovery of his career. Parker decided to go global. We're talking about a young man who was willing to travel 8,000 miles from home to chase his dreams. His first stop? Australia. The land down under is famous for some of the biggest gold nuggets ever found, and Parker wanted a piece of that action. But Australia was just the beginning. The real adventure started when Parker set his sights on South America. Now, when we say adventure, we're not talking about a nice vacation. We're talking about jungles filled with dangerous animals, remote locations where cell phone service doesn't exist, and mining conditions that would make even experienced miners think twice. Parker and his small crew made their way to Brazil, and specifically to a place that would become legendary in gold mining circles. Serra Pelada. Now, if you don't know about Serra Pelada, let me paint you a picture. This place was once the site of the biggest gold rush in Brazil's history. We're talking about a place where, at its peak, miners were pulling out $2 million worth of gold every single day. Every single day. But here's where the story gets really crazy. The mining at Serra Pelada suddenly stopped. Nobody could figure out exactly why. Some people said the gold was all mined out. Others believed that there were still massive deposits hidden underground, just waiting for someone brave enough and smart enough to find them. When Parker arrived at Serra Pelada, he wasn't just looking at any ordinary mine. He was standing at what could potentially be the site of the biggest gold discovery in modern mining history. The numbers that were being thrown around were absolutely mind-blowing. We're talking about the possibility of $1.5 billion worth of gold still buried in the ground. Think about that number for a second. $1.5 billion. That's enough money to buy a small country. That's enough money to make Parker one of the richest young people on the planet. But getting to that gold wouldn't be easy, not even close. First, Parker had to deal with the local owners of the mining rights. These weren't people you could just walk up to and make a handshake deal with. These were serious business people who understood exactly what they were sitting on. Negotiating a deal would require all of Parker's skills, charm, and business sense. But the business side was just the beginning of Parker's challenges. Serra Pelada isn't located in some nice, comfortable mining district. This place is in the middle of the Brazilian jungle. We're talking about a location where Parker and his crew had to worry about dangerous wildlife, including jaguars. Yes, you read that right, jaguars. Parker literally came face to face with a pack of wild jaguars during his exploration. Can you imagine being in Parker's boots at that moment? You're thousands of miles from home, in a jungle where predators see you as dinner, trying to negotiate a deal that could make you incredibly wealthy or completely broke. The pressure must have been unbelievable. But Parker didn't get to where he is by backing down from challenges. He pushed forward, studying every aspect of the Serra Pelada site. He brought in experts, analyzed soil samples, and used every piece of technology available to understand what was really buried beneath their feet. What Parker discovered was absolutely incredible. The geological surveys suggested that the previous mining operations had barely scratched the surface. The gold deposits ran much deeper than anyone had previously thought. The potential wasn't just good, it was historically significant. Here's what made Parker's discovery even more amazing. While other miners were focused on traditional placer mining, the kind of mining that involves sifting through dirt and gravel looking for gold flakes, Parker was looking at something completely different. He was looking at hard rock mining, which involves extracting gold directly from rock formations. Hard rock mining is more complex, more expensive, and more risky than traditional placer mining. But it also has the potential for much bigger payoffs. And in Serra Pelada, Parker wasn't just looking at any hard rock formation. He was looking at what geologists call a mother lode, a primary vein of gold-bearing rock that could contain more precious metal than anyone had ever imagined. The technical aspects of what Parker was proposing were mind-blowing. We're talking about mining operations that would require massive investments in equipment, infrastructure, and manpower. The environmental impact studies alone would take months. The permitting process would be incredibly complex. And all of this would have to happen in a remote location where getting supplies and equipment would be a logistical nightmare. But Parker wasn't thinking small. He never thinks small. He was envisioning a mining operation that could produce gold for decades. Not just a few seasons, but potentially for generations. The kind of discovery that doesn't just make you rich, it makes you a legend in the mining industry. Now let's talk about what $1.5 billion in gold actually means. To put this in perspective, Parker's most successful season on Gold Rush brought in about $8 million. This Serra Pelada discovery was potentially worth almost 200 times that amount. It would be like winning the lottery, except instead of buying a lucky ticket, Parker earned it through years of hard work, expertise, and incredible courage. The discovery process itself was like something out of an adventure movie. Parker and his team had to use ground-penetrating radar, core sampling equipment, and advanced geological mapping techniques. They were essentially using 21st century technology to uncover deposits that had been formed millions of years ago. Every core sample that came up from the ground told a story. Each piece of rock was analyzed for gold content, and the results were consistently incredible. The gold wasn't just present, it was abundant. The concentrations were higher than anyone had dared to hope for. But here's what makes Parker's story even more impressive. He wasn't just focused on the money. Throughout his entire career, Parker has been passionate about the craft of mining itself. He genuinely loves the challenge of finding gold in places where others have failed. He loves the problem-solving aspect, the technical challenges, and the thrill of discovery. When Parker looks at a place like Serra Pelada, he doesn't just see dollar signs. He sees a puzzle that needs to be solved. He sees an opportunity to push the boundaries of what's possible in modern mining. He sees a chance to prove that with the right combination of technology, determination, and expertise, even the most challenging mining projects can be successful. The potential impact of Parker's Serra Pelada discovery goes far beyond his personal wealth. A successful mining operation of this scale would create jobs for hundreds of local people. It would bring investment and infrastructure to a remote region of Brazil. It would contribute to the global gold supply and potentially affect gold prices worldwide. From a technological standpoint, the mining methods that would be required for Serra Pelada would push the industry forward. Parker would need to use the most advanced mining equipment available, and possibly even develop new techniques specifically for this unique geological formation. The environmental considerations were also incredibly important to Parker. Modern mining operations are nothing like the destructive practices of the past. Today's miners are required to follow strict environmental protocols, restore mining sites after extraction is complete, and minimize their impact on local ecosystems. Parker understood that getting permission to mine at Serra Pelada would require demonstrating that his operations would meet the highest environmental standards. This wasn't just about getting rich. It was about doing mining the right way, with respect for the environment and local communities. As Parker continued his investigation of the Serra Pelada site, every piece of evidence pointed to the same incredible conclusion. This wasn't just a good mining opportunity. This was potentially the discovery of a lifetime. The kind of find that mining engineers dream about but rarely encounter. The geological formation at Serra Pelada is what experts call a world-class deposit. These are mining sites that occur maybe once in a generation, if you're incredibly lucky. They're characterized by exceptionally high concentrations of precious metals, large size, and the potential for long-term profitable extraction. For a young miner like Parker, discovering a world-class deposit would cement his reputation as one of the greatest gold miners of his generation. It would put him in the same category as legendary prospectors who made historic discoveries that are still talked about decades later. But as with all great opportunities, the Serra Pelada discovery came with enormous risks. The investment required to develop a hard rock mining operation of this scale would be massive. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars in upfront costs, with no guarantee of success. Parker would need to assemble a team of world-class mining engineers, geologists, and equipment operators. He would need to navigate complex international business regulations, environmental permits, and local government requirements. He would need to secure financing for one of the most ambitious mining projects attempted by someone his age. The pressure was immense, but Parker had already proven that he could handle pressure. From the time he took over his grandfather's mining operation as a teenager, he had been making decisions that would intimidate much older, more experienced business people. What sets Parker apart from other miners isn't just his technical skills or his business sense. It's his ability to see opportunities that others miss, and his willingness to take calculated risks that others wouldn't dare attempt. The Serra Pelada discovery was the perfect example of Parker's unique approach to mining. While other miners might have looked at the remote location, the complex geology, and the massive investment required and decided it was too risky, Parker saw exactly the opposite. He saw an opportunity that was so extraordinary that the risks were worth taking. The story of Parker's Serra Pelada discovery represents everything that makes Gold Rush so compelling to watch. It's not just about finding gold. It's about pushing boundaries, taking risks, and pursuing dreams that seem impossible to everyone else. Parker's journey from a 5-year-old kid working on his grandfather's mine to a young man potentially sitting on $1.5 billion discovery is the kind of American success story that inspires people around the world. It shows what's possible when you combine passion, expertise, hard work, and the courage to chase opportunities that scare everyone else. Today, Parker Schnabel isn't just another reality TV star. He's a legitimate mining industry leader who has proven that age doesn't matter if you have the skills and determination to succeed. His discovery at Serra Pelada could be just the beginning of what promises to be an incredibly exciting career in mining. The most amazing part of Parker's story is that he's still young. Most miners don't hit their peak until they're in their 40s or 50s, after decades of experience. Parker is already making discoveries that veteran miners would be proud to claim as the achievement of their careers. What Parker accomplished at Serra Pelada proves that the gold mining industry is still full of incredible opportunities for those brave enough and smart enough to pursue them. In an age where many people think all the easy gold has already been found, Parker demonstrated that the biggest discoveries might still be waiting for the right person to come along. The impact of Parker's Serra Pelada discovery extends far beyond the Gold Rush television show. It's a real-world example of how modern prospecting techniques, combined with old-fashioned determination and risk-taking, can still lead to life-changing discoveries. For viewers of Gold Rush, Parker's Serra Pelada adventure represents the ultimate treasure hunt. It's the kind of discovery that makes you want to grab a shovel and start looking for gold in your own backyard. It's proof that fortune really does favor the bold. As we wrap up this incredible story, think about what Parker Schnabel accomplished. A young man from Alaska traveled to the other side of the world, navigated dangerous jungle conditions, negotiated complex business deals, and potentially discovered one of the most valuable gold deposits in modern mining history. That, folks, is what makes Parker Schnabel one of the most fascinating personalities in the Gold Rush universe. He's not just mining for gold, he's mining for history, and he's doing it with a level of courage and expertise that would impress miners with 50 years of experience. The Serra Pelada discovery might be the most incredible chapter in Parker's story so far, but something tells us this young miner is just getting started. With discoveries like this under his belt, who knows what kind of mining adventures await him in the future? If you found Parker's incredible Serra Pelada discovery as mind-blowing as we did, make sure to hit that like button to show your support for more amazing Gold Rush content. Share this video with anyone who loves incredible success stories or fascinating mining adventures. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell so you never miss our latest videos about the most exciting discoveries, biggest finds, and most incredible adventures from the world of Gold Rush and beyond. Trust us, you won't want to miss what we have coming up next.